Welcoming you back to crypto's juiciest news. You and I watching BTC do absolutely nothing. 103,000 American dollars, friends. We have specific discussions about the US government waiting and waiting and waiting to inject that liquidity. That's what the whole game is right now. Government shutdown has officially ended. We're going to speak about JP Mosquito, Stablecoins super cycle again. Jimmy Cramer, did he curse us? No. But it's on the line. It's blurry. Okay? A lot about crypto adoption, China versus America, AI, all of that coming your way and more. BTC, friends, still at this zone of about 103,000 American dollars. It looks fine on the monthly. We are still hanging around here on the month. If you go down to the shorter time frames, though, everyone starts to get a bit skitsy because everyone's like really playing level to level. This is Bitcoin on that 4-hour price action chart. It's still hanging around here. Personally, I'm not surprised. Do you remember, friends, when we came up here? Because, okay, friends, we've got to think, okay, remember, what does everyone want? Okay, you just, actually, let me tell you what actually everyone really, really, really wants. Not me and you, what everyone out there really wants, okay? So, firstly, 50% of people are bearish. They actually want these things to crash to zero. Okay, that's number one. Most of the other people who are bullish, okay, a big cohort of them, they actually want a fast, sharp, and short parabolic rally to quickly happen so they can exit. Okay, they actually want to be done by the end of this year. And we've only got a few weeks left. I mean, anybody who's bullish, like, you know, like Trader Main or anyone else, friends, they're not holding next year. They say next year's cooked. Okay, they say, oh, next year's definitely a bear market. I want to be done. Okay, so I'm just giving you an idea of what the majority of people want. Okay, majority of people either want it to literally just go straight down. Okay, they literally go, hey, just go straight down so I can buy like 90% cheaper, or just go quickly straight up so I can quickly win. Okay, so I can sell the rest. Even Ivan and everyone else, you know that, right? So what's Max Pain then? Max Pain is actually what we're doing right now. Max Pain is hitting every level. Come back up. Fart again. Come back up. Fart again. That's actually Max Pain. Max Pain is this slow grind, kind of go back up thing. It kind of forces them to really believe. Okay, that's what Max Pain really is. And we joke about Max Pain. Max Pain's really just saying everything to negative numbers and zero. This is the 3-month chart of Bitcoin. One of you baby dolls in my Telegram as well, you suggested I have a look at it. And I am looking at it now. It makes me look at it differently because the 6-month chart, it looks like this. It looks scary because we had so many greens in a row. But if you're looking at the 3-month chart, it doesn't look like there's anything to worry about. All right. If you look at back what happened in 2017, look at these this big giant blow off. It like accelerates, bang. Okay. You also had this back here in 2013. You had this giant blow off. And you're going to think, friends, look what Bitcoin did from the low to the high in 3 months. It did a freaking 11x. It's kind of funny, friends. That's why everybody who talks shit about altcoins, just tell them to shut up, dude. The only reason they're in Bitcoin, they're not in Bitcoin because, oh, fix the money, fix the world. Oh, I believe in decentralization. Tell them to shut up, dude. You're in here because Bitcoin at one point went up literally 11x in 90 days. That's why they're here. Okay, they're not here because of, oh, decentralization and fix the money. They don't give a crap about that. All right? They're here for number go up. All right? And I'll give you, look, friends, are they even using Bitcoin? No. No, they're not. Most people aren't. Okay? How do they use it? The same way I use it, which is I just pray tomorrow someone pays more for it than they did yesterday. That's it. Okay? It's the same thing with gold. Okay? Now, I've dumbed it down to make it sound funny, but it's actually true. All right? Now, if we go and have a look at, friends, as well, we have a look at this 3-month chart. There were so many of these resets, okay? Look at this 3-month reset, 3-month reset, 3-month reset, 3-month reset. We have not had like this explosive parabolic move. Friends, look what Bitcoin did in 6 months in the last cycle. 486%. That's a 5.8x. Even look what it did in this cycle as well. That's about 160%. And then we had two of these 3-month period of resets as well. Okay, we had the Japan yen Pokemon Island explosion here as well. All right. So no matter how you spin it, we haven't exploded. And you know, I don't want to be that guy, and you don't either, where you're like, oh well, yeah, it didn't go up high enough, therefore I'm not out. You don't like sounding like that, but it actually is true, man. It's true. Like, who's holding now? You know, you didn't see like an acceleration of people come in with like ultra weak hands. I also want to show you the weekly chart as well. Bitcoin, this is a weekly chart here. Many people are calling for the end, friends. Still hanging around here, hanging around. This is the weekly super trend out here. It's going to take a while before it's ready to reverse. Look what it did on Japan yen Pokemon Island. There's this 1 week period where it just engulfs the previous weeks as here. You know, we haven't done it yet. Maybe we're still going to hang around here, and then maybe this is going to be 1 week where we just close high up and we finish at like 110. You know, and everyone's desperate for that move. That's why I said, like, you know, and you know what as well, friends. Everyone, they really want this blow off top. They really want it to be done. Maybe not going to get it. This is Ethereum on a short-term price action as well, hanging around here. There's nothing else really much together. Okay, we've had the government shutdown ended, and yeah, now people are now, you know, upset because they just want the up, please. Why aren't you going up? I need you to go up quickly. Please go up. Why aren't you immediately going up? That's what everyone wants, friends. It's all about liquidity. We're not getting it. This is the global liquidity fractal with Bitcoin. We are still lagging behind Bitcoin big time. Kind of sad because we followed it for such a long time, and then Natalie Brunell went onto Fox News and then cursed us all into oblivion by saying, oh, look at this chart, so easy, you just get long. Look at the lines follow each other. I mean, like, literally cursed to the day. Literally to the day. Here's where she goes on Fox News right here. It stops working. I mean, like, you couldn't even make it up, dude. You couldn't even make this up. This yellow line is obviously gold. Hopefully there's some sort of rotational stuff out here. But like, if you really want to know what's going on, okay, I've told you this, okay? So if you forget charts, okay, just from everybody in the market, all right, everyone either wants it to go straight down because they're in stablecoins, okay? Because it depends, everyone sold between 30 to 70% of the portfolio. So I haven't, obviously, but they've sold that much. They wanted to go straight down, start collapsing so they can buy a lot cheaper, okay? That's number one. And the other part, like I said, is the people who still have that piece of long left, they want a quick, fast, sharp rally, Bitcoin 150K, they click out, it's all done. All right? So that's why, you know, I think about stuff like, well, you know what you would really hate? Is if Bitcoin did go up and then it stops again at like, you know, 135, you don't get you 150, and now it's back down to like 120. And now you're like in Feb next year. Right? You might be thinking, oh, they're going to keep holding. No, they're not. No, they're not. They won't keep holding. They think next year's going to be bearish. Okay, so they're going to be looking for every confirmation bias to get out. And next year could be bearish. I don't know. All right. There's just a few things we've got to think about, friends, because Bitcoin dominance is still bearish as hell. Okay, so we've seen a few unique stuff happen. Okay, we've seen Bitcoin broke the all-time high before the Bitcoin halving in this cycle. All right, never before done. So that was a first. All right, that's number one. So we've also seen a couple of the months reverse. Okay, we had 3 Septembers in a row. They're meant to be bad, and they were green. All right, that's also interesting, very interesting. And then October and November's, they started flopping. So there's a lot of price action changes showing that there's different players in here now. But now this is what I'm about to tell you the next thing. So, look, I'm just guessing, and I don't know, okay? But, like, think about this, friends. If we were to go back 5 years ago and I was to tell you, hey, Bitcoin's going to break its all-time high before the Bitcoin halving, yada, yada, and we're going to get an ETF, you would never believe it. I would never believe it, okay? But think about this, okay? Like, what if next year Bitcoin doesn't do as well, but altcoins do amazing, all right? What if that happens? Because what's everybody locked in their mind? Everyone in their mind is fixated on this one pattern, and they go, Bitcoin dominance must go up, Bitcoin must be strong, and then altcoins are the rotational dog shit after that. You know, Why does it have to be like that though? Why? I mean, like, you know, but if you listen to the words of Charlie as well, he's just showing, he tells you Wall Street and the government, they've already chosen Ethereum, right? You can do all the blacklist function, admin function, smart contracts. It's de facto CBDC. Everything they want to do, they can do. It's all on Ethereum already, okay? And you trust Ethereum more. You can control it. You can even put a digital passport, get a human identity. I haven't even started on the stablecoin supercycle stuff, hold on. Okay, so, but it's because we've never seen it before. In our minds, we give like a 0% chance of that happening. Everyone by default, but you know markets, right? They like to catch people by surprise. I'm having a quick look here as well at the Sol ETH ratio. It's slowly bleeding down, even though Sol does have its ETF here. Just showing you that, friends, liquidity missing from everywhere. But if we go back, let's look at OTHERS-btc. Okay, friends, if you go back, when they ended quantitative tightening here, all right, when they actually ended it, and you can actually see it right here, it was still very slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe the 5th month, maybe something okay happens. Maybe. That's a long time, man, if this happens. Look, we're just on month 1. So I think when I know it's very annoying because we're expecting much better, much earlier. But it helps you, like, you know, put into perspective. You become more patient because you're looking at monthly candles here. Because look, how much can you really change in a month, man? Look at this. 1, 2. Look at this grindy up. This is when they stopped QT last time. Okay, so if they're going to stop it again, which is exactly what they've announced they're doing, maybe we're going to get something like that too. That's why I've actually shown you, like, the scenario no one wants is slow up. Yeah, that's a scenario no one wants. Okay? You might say, oh, but no one wants slow down. Yeah, a lot of people want slow down. A lot. Because they've already sold 30 to 70% of the portfolio. They just want to see it confirm. They want to see Bitcoin go down to 95 and stay. Go down to 90 and stay. Because they're buying at the end of next year. That's what everyone wants. Let's check out the US macro markets. We have the racist Russell 2000 still around the all-time high. Yesterday, it finished above it. And now it's come back and it's slightly below. This is the all-time high. It's still hanging around here, friends. It's literally just hanging around here. I wonder what it's going to do. All right. Like, we need this thing just to hurry up. It's been faking out endlessly. But you also got to think, friends, like, are we going to look back in, say, 10 years from now? Right. And we're going to say, wow, we actually thought that China or America would, like, give up the AI race early. How stupid of us. Are we going to say that? You know, it's a chess game now. It's game theory. You know, no one's talking about it like that, which is good because it means it's not priced in. But it helps us understand what's going on. Okay, and it is true. Okay, because here's a funny part: we already have the internet bubble to go off already. Yeah, whoever controls the internet controls the world now. I bet if you were a government president or leader, wouldn't you like to rewind time back to the 1990s? And install all the cables and telecom infrastructure for your country so you could match Silicon Valley? Wouldn't you love to do that? Yeah, they'd all love to do that. Yeah, but it was all being priced in America. Okay, so they all know this, by the way. Everyone knows this. Everyone knows what happened with the internet, okay? So that makes you wonder, America and China. That's why they're all like, okay, what do we do with the AI? Okay, whatever we do, we just can't stop. Okay? Maybe the fear of stopping is too much. Okay, but it's governments, man, as well, because governments in the middle, they can do a lot of stuff. You know, they can crack the economy for like 3 months just so they're forced to print. That could always happen because you know at the end of the day there is going to be a money printing bonanza somewhere. It's just the waiting period in between is what we're all waiting for. Now let's crack on with some news, friends. So the US government shutdown has officially ended. And, you know, of course, some people obviously, like, everyone's getting a skitsy. It's funny. It's a lot of people who have sold, they're getting skitsy because they're hyper-focusing on the price action, okay? Because they're watching it go up a tiny bit and then it's failing. And then they're like saying, oh my gosh, none of these good news can make us go up. we're meant to be going up. All this stimulus meant to be going up. I'm just going to show you this quick chart. I'll cover it for you again in Yummy Update. But this is what it used to look like, friends. If you check it out, these were the different stimulus packages ahead, right? By the way, this is a daily chart, okay? This is when they did the zombie virus in 2020. Okay, look at the slow grind up, dude. It's very slow grind up. And then they announced another 160 billion stimulus package here, and then 410 billion. But this was, QE was already on here. All right, QE was already on the balance sheet, was not just going sideways, now it's actually going up. So, next thing, alert. China's CVERC alleges a US role in the 2020 Libyan hack and questions how the Department of Jelly Beans accessed 127,000 Bitcoin. The US filed its largest ever forfeiture in October and says it already holds 127,000 Bitcoin in custody. Now, this is one of the most underreported pieces of news in all of crypto. Why? So, I did some research. I heard a couple of the nerd dudes talking about it. I think what happened was the US government, all right, they got some nerd in the US government. Basically, he figured out that one of the thieves who stole 127,000 Bitcoin, the wallet they were using to store their Bitcoin, it was using one of the very old ancient encryption password guessing or something. And he was able to basically use, it wasn't perfectly random. Okay, it was not perfectly random. And he was able to basically like guess the password. And they just, they targeted it because they knew, okay, this guy's definitely a thief. And they just took the Bitcoin. Okay, apparently that's what happened, I think. And they just never talked about it again. And one that makes you wonder why, like the US government, like, are they even allowed to do that? It's kind of wild, by the way. That is wild that they could do that, because that's what used to happen back then. Things weren't like completely, totally random, and you know, maybe they didn't think about it because, you know, everything was worth pennies and dollars if you're in your Bitcoin land. But I think this is the same story related. It is. That's why everybody on these old wallets should move to like basically a new one with totally randomness. Also, something interesting. This is very interesting. So sometimes they have these competitions of like, you know, for like, you know, science nerds, who can make the most random sequence themselves. Like, how can you get something really, 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 really random? And I don't even know how you test for it and something. But the wildest part, friends, was apparently, this is going to blow your mind, okay? You know, so people try to use formulas of like how leaves grow, weather patterns, everything that randomly happens in nature to try get things to be perfectly randomly generated. Apparently, the guy who won the prize just used stock prices. Yeah, that skitzed me out when I heard that. Yeah, I got to find the actual thing. That's wild. The guy, so to get the most random, where there's less edge, is like the daily stock price, maybe S&P 500 up or down. That was more random than like the path of a leaf growing or weather or anything. This is, yeah. So I think the whole point is to kind of show you how little edge the average person actually has. Like you're totally random in a lot of these things. So, but yeah, it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild when I heard that. It was related to all this, like, you know, science stuff. Now, JP Mosquito and DBS are building a tokenization framework for interbank deposits. So, you know, on one hand, 4-year cycle, it looks like it's over. On the other hand, man, you have all the big banks who are putting tokenization, real world assets. They're allowing their customers to trade, put stablecoins in. They're going to earn the yield off the customers. They're going to add all the cards, the cashback rewards, all the adoption. You know, what do? I'm still holding. Brazil's central bank will classify stablecoin payments and some wallet transfers as foreign exchange operations starting Feb 2026. So, as we see more adoption, more and more governments and their central banks are going to have to like change the classification of all these crypto, because crypto is just digital, right? There's like thousands of different sectors and labels and whatever they are. And, you know, that just adds more adoption, man. That's more adoption. That's more liquidity coming in. That's more certainty. That's more businesses. But, you know, we still got a number to go up. So we'll see. Jack Dorsey's Square has rolled out Bitcoin payments to 4 million merchants, enabling Bitcoin acceptance at checkouts across the US of A. So it's going to be very interesting in the next few years what people actually choose. Right? It will be very interesting, friends, because once you have everyone, because everyone only uses their government currency because it's the first thing there. But what's going to happen if you've got a cashback reward and you've got a debit card and it's linked to one of your favorite altcoin layer 1 chains and you're earning yield off it, right? What then? Because you're going to be holding all your crypto on the chain and you're going to be using your coins there, okay? Remember as well, friends, you never want to spend your appreciating asset. It's Gresham's law, right? You spend the poop. So you want to be spending the government currency first because that's deflating, okay? That's what you want to be doing. But that's also why when stablecoin supercycle kicks on the way even more aggressively, it becomes even more tough because people will be spending their local, you know, the Vietnamese dong. They'll be spending that into US dollars straight away just to hold that. So we're going to see more of these battles coming out later on. But these are like future narratives, friends. I want to tell you as well, I remember back in 2020, right, when I was telling my friends about, like, no one believed in crypto. Obviously, no one, because everything was still low here. Everything had like gone to zero. You were not seeing, in this period of time, friends, you were not seeing this big crypto adoption stuff. Okay, do you know what was making the news? It was like once a month, PayPal, an executive at PayPal would like appear at like a crypto conference. You know, something weird like that. Or like, you know, something like really generic, or and then actually saying, oh yeah, we're really looking into it. You know, it was so generic stuff like that. Or like PayPal officially, like, you know, filing in like some random state in America. Oh, let's just make like a crypto website or something, okay? And that was the big stuff. I was telling my friends about it. I was like, oh, they're getting in, and no one would believe, no one would care. But it was true. It was all happening. That's how like you like were like clutching onto the tiniest straws. And then like and it's funny, the price was really cheap then. But now we're literally seeing all these banks saying, oh yeah, we're just gonna offer crypto to like, you know, 55 million customers. That's the actual stuff we're seeing now. Just like it's real. Okay, but it doesn't necessarily mean the price goes up. Okay, it doesn't. It's just your conviction to hold. Because we know what we really need, right? Right, we need that, just that liquidity injection. That's what we all need. So hopefully with this government shutdown and everything kickstarting and this TGA stuff, hopefully that all kicks on the way soon. Check this out as well, friends. Jim Cramer says, we could really use some blockchain in a day like today. And before you think that he's going to send us to zero, I think it just might refer to all the government data that is delayed. So if it was just reported on the blockchain, it could be automatic. So thank God he's not like, you know, trying to curse us into oblivion. Also, Jim Cramer says, we are testing the rally today. He's talking about, friends, let's play some Pumpy G music for us. He's talking about the NASDAQ and the stonk market, which is it right here. This is pretty much it. This is what it looks like on the daily. He's talking about we're testing the rally. We're testing the rally. Pretty much what it means is you just draw this cute little Fibonacci extension right here, okay? When it means testing, yeah, we don't know, okay? We're too scared. Don't be bullish. Don't be bullish. But what's going to happen? Are we going to like fake out, come back down, and it's all over? Or what? We know NASDAQ and the stocks, we know they are high, grinding along the top of their channels. But also, you know, markets, they price in the future. What can AI see that we can't? A lot of these, friends, a lot of the mid-curvers are coming out and saying AI is definitely a bubble. It's definitely a bubble. Bubble. The wisdom of the crowd, man. It knows stuff you don't know. It's just you don't understand what's coming in 6 to 12 to 18 months. You don't know. Okay? You think you know, but you don't know. Okay? You think you know, but you don't know. Okay? That's what I'm just talking about. It's not just ChatGPT. Right? That's why I always use this example for you for Palantir turning a losing company into a winning company. Okay, I use that example because it's so universal, right? It's not just like, oh, everyone's got a website now, which is actually that was very powerful stuff. Okay, think about remember, there was no websites back then in the early 90s, and now every company has a website. Now you can actually find everything. There's like an online database. You can just look everything up in the world. Everyone's got a phone number. Everyone's got an email. You talk to anybody. You see that 0 to 1 moment? Okay, well, what if you have literally a 200 IQ freaking robot, AI, conscience being telling you, hey, you suck. This is what you got to do to make money. Okay? Because it's literally going to be like that. It's going to find all these inefficiencies. Okay? But that's why this stock, Nasdaq's going up, but all this stuff's going up. I can't see that. You can't see that. There's the wisdom of the crowd. It's pricing that in. Okay? That's all these mid-curvers, when they're saying, oh, earnings and all these other PE stuff ahead. They don't know what the hell they're talking about, dude. Okay? You don't know. They're not talking about. You weren't here in the early 1990s. Okay? And also, look how much the world changed. From all these hundreds of thousands of businesses that just you didn't even know existed, and now you do. Okay, how do you price that in? How do you price that effect in with AI, by the way? Okay, how many businesses out there aren't making money where if you gave it a 200 IQ AI, they can make money? Right? I guarantee there's a lot. But they already did one with that big one. That's why I showed you that example with Palantir. So, we still got to get people excited though, which will probably be the weak hands coming in. Emotional money, I don't think they're in yet. Check this out as well, friends. So Robinhood says crypto is becoming the infrastructure for the global financial system. Remember Robinhood releasing their own chain. I think they chose an Ethereum layer 2, if I remember as well. I forgot. They're all coming to crypto. Everyone's coming in. Remember, stablecoin super cycle, tokenizing everything. Everyone's going to be trading, hooking up to prediction markets, hooking up to all the wallets, vertical integration. It's all happening. We also have the crypto czar, David Nutzak, saying the US is a major step closer to becoming the crypto capital of the world. You got to think about that from that race perspective as well, man. That's why I keep telling you, why would they press pause on AI and crypto? Why would literally Trump say, you know what? You know what's a really good idea, bro? We're running a 400-meter race. Okay. We're 220 meters in. Okay. Let's literally just stop running right now. And let's just look around at the stadium. Tie your shoes. Lay down. You know what I mean? No. Not going to happen. Okay. Especially when things are going exponential. Okay. That's why it just raises the odds. We're not done yet. China also says it's ready to work with US of A to maintain a stable global supply chain. These are just, peace talk words. The market is obviously in disbelief. Because remember, friends, China and America, they were bitching at each other 9-10 months ago. Now they're like, oh yeah, we are going to work with each other. But the market doesn't care because of just these cycles. The cycle rules more. It's way more powerful than just these words. These words are just always, they come out and they're just taken out of context depending on how we feel. Check this out as well. SoFi becomes the first nationally chartered US bank to launch Bitcoin and crypto trading. This is also one of my wet dreams from last year. Actually, yeah, 2024 actually. I really wanted these big banks to just offer crypto trading because now you just get to let everyone see a portfolio. Because then what happens is, friends, everyone starts sharing their numbers on Instagram, on TikTok, and everyone gets to see what other people's portfolios have, right? Because right now everyone just has boring US dollars. You can't change much. Because when someone with $40 in their bank account sees someone with 4 million, they think, oh, what did that person do for a business, right? It's totally different to if they see, wait, you've got XRP. You know what I mean? That's totally different. They can actually change. It changed their perspective, okay, a lot, and actually get them more desensitized to it. Here you have Mr. ShimShone as well. Thank you very much. So check this out. He's quoting Richard Hart. The right to transact underpins all other rights. Governments turning on central bank digital currencies with social credit scores and controlling all your spending is a real threat. CBDC. Pulse Chain solves this, so do Hex and PulseX. I'm sorry, sir. Your card has been declined due to your political views. This is 100% true. That's why we need alternatives, That's why maybe one day in the future, friend. Like, Trump's not going to be in forever. It'll be someone else. Imagine another Kamala Crappers coming in and they declare you like, oh, they ask you a question. How many genders are there? Okay. And if you say any number that's less than 482, oh, well, you know, they say you're a violent terrorist. You're like, you're breaking up civilization. Okay. I don't know. We're like having I was about to say we're having kind of a joke here, but not even really, because we literally did live through this period of time. I mean, it's happening in Europe right now, right? Didn't they put that guy in jail just because he replied with a poop emoji? He replied with like a clown emoji or something to a politician. So these things are real and they definitely happen. That's why we need alternatives. That's the most important part when it comes from here. But, okay, alternatives don't mean much when we need our price number go up. This is Bitcoin hanging around out here, 102,000, 103,000. We've got a lot of levels to climb up here. Personally, I am not excited unless I see Bitcoin, remember, over 118. Anything over 118, okay, sweet. Anything below it, I don't give a crap, all right? I think we've just conceded as well, friends. We've had 2 red monthly candles in a row. It's broken the back of the rally. And yes, just keep that in mind, right? Like, everyone wants just go straight down because they've sold. Straight down so I can buy a lot back. Or quickly go up fast so I can sell into that 150K parabolic move and then I can bet on the next year bear market, all right? So the path no one wants is a slow, methodical grind up next year. That's the path that no one wants. I guess we'll see what happens. Like, subscribe, belly button, all. Catch you soon.